everybody. Welcome to Studio Spotlight 9. I am happy today to introduce my friend Daphne. We just met here maybe like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
We went to an event together where I was kind of helping out in parts of running this event, but also kind of, putting out there the things I do. And I know when I was there, I got to talk to Daphne for, a little bit. And it was actually super cool with what she's actually doing. So we're going to get to that in a minute. But for those who might not know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Daphne Stockdale, and I am a mom to 4 kids, and just always figuring that out, right? Always trying to figure out kids and navigating that. Every one of them are so different. My husband and I have been married for, 24 years. And I have been teaching high school for 22 years. So that's a little bit about me.
So what got you into that made you want to teach? I always find that super interesting.
Yeah. So when I was in junior high, I knew in 9th grade that I wanted to be a teacher, and I thought that I would be a drama teacher. I thought I would just do theater. And then I went to a national conference with FCCLA, and I was sold. So I switched gears, and my focus kind of became more, used to be called home economics. So it used to be home economics related. And I became a teacher it's called now Family and Consumer Sciences. So yeah. And always through college, my roommates kept saying, you're going to change your mind. You're going to change your mind. Nobody sticks with it. I'm like, the further I got into it, I thought I better not be changing my mind. So yeah.
Oh, I understand that completely. I think that's funny where they, your roommate said, you'll change your mind.
Yeah.
Everybody does. And, that's, what they're telling you. And I have experience with that because I remember when I first went to college, I was in high school. I wasn't entirely sure, hey, what do I want to do? And I was like, well, I like this school thing. Maybe I can be a teacher. I went in my very first semester in college, my freshman year, I went and, just took some classes in education and just kind of looking at it. And I changed my mind.
Changed your mind. Yeah.
Definitely changed my mind on that. But
yeah.
That's super cool that you're just like, nope, this is
it. Yeah.
It.
So I think I think the youth keep me young, right? It makes me feel younger than I am. I think I can't be married for 24 years. I'm only 28. How does that work? So, so it's fun. I love teenagers. I love working with them. I really used to think I would teach until I died. I thought I would just, be there, and I thought I'd just be old and, and and it's not that I don't love it, because I do, but I just, know that there's another calling for me. So, yeah.
So tell me about that. What's that other calling look like? I know from us talking just a little bit, I know that teenage group is pretty important to you.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So, about 5 years ago or 6, gosh, I need to really think about that. But I attended a conference, and my husband and I both went, and then my son came with us, and he was, let me think. I think he was a senior in high school. And so we were just talking, and I've always had a goal since I was in high school myself and went to conferences. I've always had a goal to be a speaker. I've wanted to speak to youth groups. So that's kind of always been on my mind, but it's always been like something far out there, like a dream, but it's just a dream, And so when I went to this conference, I realized, hey, maybe I could make this could be real for me. And so after a little bit of time, I actually became a co-author of the book Limitless. And as I did that, and I never had a desire really to be an author. My husband and my son both wanted to write books. So I said, well, let's go to this little author part. And then it ended up we were sitting there and I looked at my husband and I said, I have to do this. I have to write a chapter of this book. And so we did that. And so now I just know I have a different call to help youth in a different way, a way outside the classroom. And so, so that's what I'm doing. I'm on this journey now to help youth truly learn how to live and how to get the most out of life. And that life can be fun. It can be, you can make it whatever you want. Life is your playground. You can do whatever you want with it. You just need some tools to help you get there, to help you do those things.
Yeah, you absolutely do. I know for me, I remember back when I was a teenager and I think about it and I kind of go, I don't want my kids doing stuff like that's not, where we want to go. And I think about it and I think, wow, if I had someone there kind of helping me along the way, with, more like wholesome, in a good direction to go, how big of a difference that could have made. Now, it's not saying where I've gotten now is bad, because I feel like everything I've done, I've gotten to where I am for a reason, as I'm sure you feel the same way for yourself.
Yes.
Have there been bad things along the way? Yeah. I mean,
it's part of life, right?
Of course, that's definitely part of life. And
but just that learning how to cope and learning how to overcome, that's what makes the difference, I think. And so especially sorry, gosh, I have a little tickle. What really solidified it, I think, for me is when we had lost my dad, and so my dad passed away before I went to this conference, and then I went to this conference, and then my mom passed away, and I had students who saw me go through both of those experiences, and I had learned some coping tools, and I had learned, I shouldn't say coping necessarily, but I had learned just some tools that help me every single day, things I do in my life that make me feel better about life, that make me happier. And I had students say, oh, Stockdale, you handled your mom passing away a lot better than your dad. And it wasn't that I was close to both of them and I had a good relationship with both of them, but it was just because of where I was in my life and what I had done for myself to really empower me to be able to cope and overcome that.
Yeah, I know I've experienced that too, because it was, so as I feel like I've said on here, a few times at least, I never knew my dad. So I grew up, I had my mom and my grandparents. My mom is definitely still around. I took my kids and actually visited her this morning.
Well, good.
They have fun and go see grandma.
Yeah.
But, I think about that because it was like within a 2-year span that my grandfather, then my grandmother.
Yeah.
And I totally understand that. It's the where you are in life that helps you cope with it better. Now, I'm not going to say with either of them, I was just like, oh, no, you feel sad.
Yeah.
And, totally expected. And I feel like some people just don't see sometimes that it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to miss them and feel that loss. There's nothing wrong with that. And I definitely feel like I can relate with you here, where when my grandfather passed, I did not really handle it well. And when my grandmother did, was I sad and cry? Yeah, of course. But I was able to continue my life at that point and cope with it better than I had with my grandfather. No, nothing about, oh, I loved my grandfather more. No, that's just,
Right. Yeah.
it was not
Yeah.
how it was.
Yeah. It's just putting yourself in a position to live in a higher vibration. That's kind of, I guess, how I explain it. Because you can appreciate the feelings and the emotions when they come, but okay, I can sit in this for a minute, but then I need to move forward. And I have the tools to help me move forward. And so I think that's been, it's definitely not just about death, right? But it's just how we move forward with any disappointment, anytime bad things happen, right? Like you mentioned, yeah, there's still bad days, but I have tools. I can decide, am I going to stay in the funk? Am I going to live here? Or am I going to climb out of it? Am I going to make life better? And and I think that was the one thing my son, he said, Mom, this is so cool that I can learn these tools right now at my age rather than being your age and having to wait till your age to learn them, And so that was another thing that kind of got me thinking, like, okay, I have these tools, and yeah, I want to help them have these tools before before they go through a lot of these things. So, yeah, just a lot of little things that, just kind of put everything in line, I guess. And I know timing is a big part of this.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah.
So when it comes to those teenagers that you're particularly wanting to focus on,
Yeah.
what is something that you do that helps them to better have those tools to be able to move forward?
Yeah. So I host game nights and retreats, and at these events we just learn about ourselves. We do some self-reflection, and I just teach some tools basically to help them, learn. When we do the self-evaluation, sometimes we're really hard on ourselves, right? But it's about loving ourselves for who we are. Not that we don't want to improve, because obviously we do. We're always setting goals to be better and do better. But you have to love yourself first, and you have to appreciate where you are first before you can make relationships work, before you can move on to make yourself better. So it's just all those little things, that make a difference. So I do at game night, we have a value, or not, let's see, I was going to retreat instead of game night, but at game night, I do this little box activity. Because as teenagers, we oftentimes put people in boxes, right? We see one person that's wearing plays a sport, and we automatically put them in this category just because they play a sport. We see one person that's in the choir or in a play, or one person that is in an agriculture class, and we just automatically kind of put them in these boxes. And so I do a box activity to kind of help them realize where they are and how we fit in a lot of different boxes. And then we talk about, I do a label activity, and we talk about how do we all label ourselves? What are the things we say about ourselves, right? Because we're our worst critic. We always say all these things that are wrong with us, yet so we do a label activity to help them kind of shed back the layers and get down to who they really truly are.
Yeah. I mean, I think that goes so well with, I think, one of the phrases that, I'm sure you've heard, and I'm sure other people, here watching have heard: you're a human being, not a human doing.
Right.
Because that activity with the labels is so big, because your job.
Yeah.
Like you've been a teacher, that doesn't mean teacher is your defining characteristic.
Mm-hmm.
You're you.
Yeah.
That happens to be what you do.
Right.
But that does not have to be, oh, that's what you are. You're a
Yeah.
teacher.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. And it's kind of like, we've all had teachers, right? We've all been to school. We've all had teachers. And so remember when you're little, right? You're in second grade and you're at the store and you're like, that's my teacher. And so, it's just kind of ingrained in us. Like we think teachers just live at the school and that's what they are. So yeah, so it's kind of that same idea. And we've all been teenagers. We've all been there. We know that our parents are dumb. We don't want to listen to them, right? I mean, that's not always true, but you know how it is with teenagers, right? The last person we want advice from is our mom or dad. It just seems like, you don't get me. You don't know what I'm doing. You don't know what I'm going through. And so that's the last person we want to tell us what we should be doing in life. So I don't know. I just have a lot of fun with them as we are learning and doing these things. And it's very real and raw, so yeah. And then we just talk about also just breakthrough. How do we get over the little things that have happened in our lives? How do we move past the bad experience that maybe defined something for us, that maybe defined a certain moment where we decided that we were dumb or we weren't worthy of love or whatever it might be, So, yeah.
That's such an important thing. I think about it, and I know it took me, how you just described a minute ago, the boxes that we kind of put people in. I mean, honestly, it took me until I was in my late 20s to understand that, where I had really taken a lot of time in my life of, okay, I'm doing this, so I must shut this off. I'm doing this, like I'm only in this one place. And it took me, 10 years beyond my teenage years to figure out, no, wait, all of these actually touch each other.
These all have to do with each other.
Have an effect on each other.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do everything and be everywhere all the time. Because I had that feeling of, oh, if I'm not doing everything or being everywhere all the time, I'm going to miss something.
Yes. That FOMO they call it, right? That fear of missing out on something.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in that, the amount of confidence I had was zero, because I was depending upon everything else that's happening.
Yeah.
But once I finally figured that out and said, no, I'm going to do this because this is what I need to do right now. I'm not going to worry about this. Confidence went this way.
Yes. Yeah. Just learning those little things that help.
Yeah. I'm so glad that, these teenagers get that experience with you. That sounds super fun. I mean, I don't have teenagers.
Not yet, right?
Yeah. They'll get there here in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, my oldest, that'll be in like 7 years.
Yep. Yeah.
I still definitely remember back to when I was a teenager. And that was the early 2000s. I was a teenager. I can totally still remember, those times and what was happening. And I definitely wish I had had something like what you're doing to help with that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's, I think too, wow, what a difference it would have made, And like you said, it doesn't mean that where we're at is in a bad place, right? I totally appreciate the timing of everything that has happened for me. And so I just know that this is the right place now. And I know that there are youth that need this. They need the connection with people. They need to be able to meet other teenagers and just really connect with them and find things that they have in common and, work on these things together. Right. So I think life is really about connection and relationships. And when we make ourselves better, then our relationships and our connection with other people can be better. And so that's what makes life really fulfilling. So
It
that's
totally
that's
does.
what I'm here. That's why I'm going to do what I do. So
Is so cool. I so appreciate that, and being able to see the future for these teenagers. Like, that's
yeah.
gonna be so good for them.
Yeah.
That's gonna be so good for them. I appreciate you being here with me today. And
Oh, thank you. This is so amazing. Thank you for having me.
you're so welcome.
Um,
And
great.
here in a few weeks, we're
Yeah.
actually gonna feature you again,
Yes.
because I know that, from us talking, that coming up here in the fall, you're actually gonna be having one of your retreats for
Yes.
teenagers coming up.
Yeah.
So here in a few weeks, everybody, you're gonna see our friend Daphne again, but this time she's gonna be up here just talking to you about what she's doing, how awesome this retreat can be, and
Yeah.
everything that it's gonna feature, like where it's gonna be, how it's gonna function. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. That's gonna be super cool.
Yeah. I'm excited to share. All the
Yeah,
things are just in the works. So we're just getting it all ready to go.
that's gonna be
So,
super fun. I encourage
yeah.
everybody, when we have Daphne again, particularly if you have teenagers, to
Yeah.
make sure you are watching this.
Yes. Get all the details.
Get all the details you can get about this retreat. Um, Daphne, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. All right, everybody. So, like I said, we're going to have Daphne on again here in a few weeks. That will get posted, here once we hammer out exactly the date we're going to do it, so everybody can know when to be here and to learn about this awesome retreat. And we will say goodbye for now, and we'll see you next time on Studio Spotlight 9.